Black real estate investors and developers with Thelonious C. Jones. Today I'm doing the father of Harlem, Philip A. Payton Jr., also known as the father of Harlem, a big power player, major power player in the real estate game in the early 1900s. I'm Thelonious C. Jones, real estate investor, developer, solutionist. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I just, I'm looking to, give great information and provide you with presentations and content that, help you out, give you some guidance, inspire you, motivate you. And that's the goal of this presentation. It's just to present to you individuals that are wealthy Black real estate investors and developers that you seldom hear of on TV, on social media, and all of the above. These individuals that are just making moves. They're just making moves. They don't. Some individuals don't need to be on TV and all over social media to be making power moves. Okay, so that's who I want to talk about, and I do this because as I go and speak to more of the youth in under-resourced communities in the schools and other situations, I want to have content that I can present to them that shows them of individuals that are heavyweights making big money, in comparison to what they see on TV, peanuts. The guys on TV, couple $1,000,000. These guys, $100 million plus. So my goal is to present to you individuals that have operate more than $100 million in real estate, own, manage, raised more than $100 million, transact, sold more than anything over $100 million. That's what I'm aiming for. But I have to admit something to you today. I have to admit that today's presentation, Philip Payton Jr. is not an individual that did over 100 million. I hate to say that to you, but he died at a young age, and he owned, I think, about 20 to 30 million when he died around 40. So I'm 100% sure he would have owned $100 million if he would have made it to 60 years old. So we're just going to go on that premise, and this content is just critical because this individual, if you ask me, I just think having the title, the father of Harlem, is worth $100 million in itself, but I could be wrong. Let's get into it. Philip Payton Jr., 1876 to 1917. He was born in Westfield, Massachusetts. Westfield, Massachusetts. His father was a barber. His mother, they said, was either working at a salon or was a caretaker. So I got two different resources on that, but it's all good. His father was barber, so at a young age he became licensed because the information, I took this from the source, said this, he was kind of self-proclaimed. So I don't know if he was indeed a licensed barber, but he obviously had skills. At a young age, around 18, he came up with the decision to relocate to Harlem, New York City, baby. Manhattan was happening, uptown. And this is Philip A. Payton, as you can see right here on the left in the picture. And in the middle is their home in Harlem. And that is his wife. I just noticed that they call her Miss Philip A. Payton Jr. Pretty interesting. So let's move along. He started his first real estate firm in 1900 at the age of 24. So the individual is always talking about age. I mean, I just want to tell you right here, if you lost your mind, if you really think age is a barrier. I mean, 1900, okay? This is before the civil rights movement, before or any of that. He started his first real estate firm at the age of 24. So it is 2017 as I do this presentation. So if you have an excuse 117 years later of why you can't start your own firm at 16, 17, or 18 with all the technology we have nowadays, I just think you're not going to make it. And you probably shouldn't watch the rest of this presentation because I need the go-getters. I'm trying to influence y'all to do this at a young age. Get into the game young. And, age doesn't really matter. But if you're youthful, if you're a teen, a young adult, get into the game now. Don't be putting this off. Oh, I'm gonna do it when I'm 30. No, no, no. Do it now, okay? And for the individuals that are, maybe grown, middle, like me, just a little older, middle aged, whatever the case may be, you can still do it too. All this is telling you that anything's possible. That's all I'm trying to really say. So let's get to the second point. He started Brown and Payton. That was the name of the real estate firm with a partner that failed. A year later, out of business. It completely failed. It completely failed miserably. That pretty much sucks. So, and from there, it just got worse. I mean, his business failed. He was broke. He got evicted. His pet died. And then he was kicked out of the apartment he managed. I mean, imagine that. You're getting kicked out the apartment you manage because you have no money. Your real estate firm failed. Your pet died because you couldn't feed it. I mean, oh my goodness. Embarrassing. Had to be embarrassing, but within about a year or two, he was able to, get a little better, get back on his feet, try to get this thing rolling, try to get the ball rolling a little bit. And within about 2 years, he got a big break from managing apartments. Okay. And basically, from what the story said, there was an apartment where there was two partners that owned the apartment, and one of the partners got mad at the other partner and wanted to put a whole bunch of black people in the apartment to make the other partner mad. And that's when he reached out to Philip Payton to help him place black tenants in this apartment in Harlem. So, unique situation, but that's what the story says. And also, I don't know if this was for the same firm or the other firm. The information wasn't totally clear, or I didn't do enough research. I'm going to take full responsibility for that. So I didn't do enough research, and I did not make it clear is if he was a janitor for that firm where he was managing their apartment, or if he was a janitor for another firm. But he was a janitor at some real estate firm that helped him to get, that traction, get his feet in the door, probably got him a couple contacts, some networking, those type of things. It's like just being in that environment kind of helps you get where you need to get to. Okay, so critical break. Yeah, it sucks getting evicted, your pet dying, getting kicked out the apartment you manage, but all you can do is go up from there. So, no matter how bad it gets, though you may fail at your business, be broke, you can still get back on your feet, but you gotta be determined and persistent. So, partnering. So, obviously his business failed in 1901. So by 1904, he started with partners Afro American Realty Company. Okay, African American Realty Company. And mind you, he's only 28 still. I mean, this guy's still not old. Still 28. This was very appealing to black investors and black people of influence because, like I said, he had a track record of managing highly occupied black apartments in Harlem. You see what I'm saying? So he was looked favored upon, based on his resume, his track record in the community. So they issued in 1904 50K shares at $10 a piece to other investors, to attract black investors to invest in Afro American Realty Company, like an offering, a stock, sort of like stock. Stock goes public and they do an offering. It's kind of the same thing, just for real estate. And I want to clarify something, because 550K times 10 is obviously 500K. I mean, that's kind of simple. But in 1904, this would have been $13 million in 2016. So at 28 years old, he was raising $13 million. $13 million. I mean, crazy. So the age, the all that other stuff, you got to let that go. You got to let that go. I mean, this was like highly racial times, no equal rights, the whole nine, still raising $13 million at 28 years old and starting his own company. And people complaining today about they don't want to do this. I mean, come on, man. Just I'm just trying to put this in perspective for y'all. I mean, this is crazy for me. It makes me feel like I'm not doing something right. So let's just get with it, man. Let's set the new standard. So partnering, and like I touch on a lot in these videos, partnering is key, or doing an offering, or attracting other investors is key to growing at an exponential rate. So that is what I want to touch on right here. Let's move on. 1905. 1905. So Afro-American Realty Company sold apartments to other investors who were white. So they sold a couple apartments to investors. And those investors ended up kicking out all the black tenants. And this was in Harlem, you guys. In Harlem, 1905. So basically, after this happened, caused great commotion. Payton and his crew were, not very happy. I mean, as you can imagine, I mean, obviously Payton's track record was placing, they obviously own this apartment. So he obviously bought the apartment, probably fixed it up, placed black tenants in there over time, and now he sells it, and all the black tenants are kicked out by the new owner. So what happened was Afro-American Realty Company bought the adjacent buildings and moved in black tenants. So naturally, I mean, the people that were moving there, I mean, this is high racial times, you guys. So I'm just trying to paint the picture for you. So if, Afro-American Realty Company sold the apartments originally in 1905, the new investors brought in all white tenants. So the white tenants obviously want to live around other white tenants because, they don't want to be integrated with other black folks. But then when Afro-American Realty Company buys the adjacent buildings and moves in blacks, the white folks that was moved in by the white investors don't want to stay there because they don't want to be around black folk. So what happened was the investors had to sell back those properties that Afro-American Realty sold to them at a steep loss because they probably couldn't even keep the rent up, and they didn't want to rent to black folk. So very strategic move by Mr. Payton. Very strategic move, power play. Think about that. I'm going to sell you something. Probably make money on it. You do something stupid. I'm going to acquire something next to you and force you to sell me something at a loss that I just sold to you. I mean, come on, man. You better get with the movement, man. Come on, man. I'm not saying you should do this. But if people are trying to be shady and sham, you have the right to be strategic in your moves in order to not only improve, I guess, the environment if he was doing that, and get the return for his investor and do what he needs to do to make his money. So very critical. This was a very critical play, and this attracted a lot of new investors to Payton and Afro-American Realty, because this was all over in the news and the paper, as you can imagine. I mean, come on now, this had to be front page news. So this was good publicity for Payton and his company to possibly raise more money and grow his business. So let's look at it. Afro-American Realty Company from 1906 to 1908. I hate to say this, but things went downhill pretty fast. The stockholders sue Payton. They sue him. Starting in 1906 for mismanagement and fraud. They were saying that I guess he didn't, provide the returns or do as much acquisitions as he was supposed to do, and some of the money was going to things that shouldn't have been going to, and it just didn't go well. So unfortunately, due to the lawsuit, due to the allegations, due to the claims by all these other investors, press, the media, they all get into it, and it starts to run his reputation into the dirt. And everybody starts to pull out. And that's pretty much it. The company closed in 1908. Sad. The company closed in 1908. I think more due to the press and the media, and that's what the research I said, because once his reputation got tarnished in the public eye, it was hard for him to try to bounce back from that. So he shut down Afro-American Realty Company in 1908, unfortunately. Well, maybe he does, and I don't know. Maybe he was doing something wrong. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe people's expectations were too high of him, and they just were riding along the train because they hear about him in the media. I don't really know. It's hard to really totally understand, but I do understand that the company was closed and he was sued. I'm sorry. I hate to say I didn't really look up the results of the case. So after that, 1909. Philip formed the Philip A. Payton Jr. Company. Kind of simple. And he continued to operate in the Harlem real estate game. He kept it pushing, man. See, I mean, one thing I can tell you about Philip A. Payton Jr., he kept it pushing. I mean, this is one thing you got to understand. Look, he starts a company, loses it within a year, gets kicked out, pet dies, gotta move, starts up again, gets, beat down, investors taking money out, media reference reputation, mismanagement, fraud, starts another company, still operating. Still operating. And mind you, if he's born in 1876, he's only 32 years old, so just keeps it rolling. So in 1917, he bought 6 apartment buildings in Harlem valued at 1.5 million. 1.5 million in 1917. In 2016's money, though I'm doing this in 2017, this video, I want the money, I'm gonna take it to 2016, $28.5 million. $28.5 million acquisition at the age of, I would say, what, 40, about 40, 41. So, Payton, he kept it pushing, he kept it moving, and then did, a major acquisition, a major transaction, man. 6 apartment buildings. So it just shows you, man, you just got to stay persistent. You got to stay at it. You can't stop. You got to keep it moving for sure. And basically, he died. He died, I hate to say, that same year. It's unfortunate. He acquired all those apartments and died. Based on the research I did, the company ran for another about 5 years. And then it just kind of just dwindled out. And Philip A. Payton Jr. is known as the father of Harlem because this house we're looking at here is the house he purchased in 1900. They said this block was nothing but white people, and even one of the Rothschilds lived on this block. And then by like 1915, I think he purchased this house in about 1912 or 1910, and about 5 or 6 years later, the whole entire block was black because he started getting his friends to move into the area. So he basically was able to change the Harlem real estate game and brought a lot of black people in to Harlem. Tons of black folks into Harlem. That's why he's called the father of Harlem. The pioneer Negro real estate agent in New York City is what they called him. I mean, these are the names. I mean, this is just me copy and pasting. This is, this is what they told. This is the legacy that Mr. Payton left. So, revolutionary, able to change the game, knew what he was doing, and just really just changed the whole dynamic of an area of New York, pretty much. Just changed the whole dynamics, with his game. And they said, the systems he used and how he operated was copied by many. Copied by many. I mean, these presentations I could do for an hour, but I just try to keep them brief because I just want to give you a brief overview. But this guy was really like a revolutionary dude for his time. He was a fighter, as you could see, and he changed the whole landscape of an area of New York. So, just a great guy. Thank you, Philip A. Payton. So if you want to contact me, go to TheloneyCJones.com. I have a free landlord course, free 20-minute consultation, free ebooks on my website. Email me if you have any questions. YouTube, I post videos every day. Check that out. Twitter, I like to tweet. So get with me. Facebook, hit me up. Instagram, hit me up. I'm also on Snapchat, Thelonious Jones on Snapchat. And just hit me up. But I just wanted to do these brief presentations, just present you with some power players, man, making that big money, no baby money, big money. And Philip A. Payton was not only a power player, but he was a revolutionary real estate investor and developer. And I hope that's all what we're looking to be. Just, being power players in our game, in our lane, and looking to make change in our communities and what we're looking to invest and whatever we're looking to accomplish. Just be known as the father, the mother, the sister, the brother of that community. Just known, leave a legacy upon that community. So, hey man, Philip A. Payton Jr., Thelonious C. Jones, I'm checking out. I appreciate you guys joining. Be blessed. Holla at me.